Hello yarn lovers, and welcome to the Ferny Hollow YouTube channel. My name is Brooke and I'm so excited to share this video with you today. Today I'm going to show you how to create a lacy design on your knitting machine. For this example I will be knitting an ear warmer, but it has tons of applications. I know you'll be excited to try it out on your next sweater or blanket. We have a lot to get to, so gather your supplies and let's get knitting. To knit the Gaia ear warmer, you will need a knitting machine, either a 32 or a 40 pin. You will need 2 colors of yarn, a main color and a contrasting color, a darning needle, scissors or shears, a loom pick or cable needle, a crochet hook, I prefer a 6mm crochet hook, waste yarn, and a pen and paper. So let's get to it. I will also give instructions for a 40 pin machine, although I'm using a 32. For the pattern, we're going to first cast on using waste yarn. And this helps us close our ear warmer at the end. So use the waste yarn and knit a few rows using the waste yarn. And then we'll get right into it. So switch to your main color and knit 7 rows. This is where our pattern starts. For the 32 pin machine, I've got my pattern here, and we're going to start on pin 5 for our pattern. On a 40 pin machine, you will start on pin 7. So you will knit across until pin 5 or pin 7 is halfway up. Here we are going to take your loom pick or the cable needle in my case. I find either work just fine. And you're going to slip that stitch off of the pin. So here, getting it in position, and slip the stitch from pin 5 off and onto pin 6. And you're going to do this 4 times. So from 5 to 6, from 7 to 8, slip stitch 9 to pin 10, slip stitch 11 to pin 12. You're going to keep going. On a 40 pin machine, it would be slip stitch 7 to pin 8, slip stitch 9 to pin 10, slip stitch 11 to pin 12, and slip stitch 13 to pin 14. So that's the main part of the pattern, but we also need to add some contrasting color. Because this is an ear warmer and it's going to be folded over, doubled up on top of itself, we really want a contrasting color as well. And don't worry, I'm going to show you this again from a different angle. So what we'll do is we are going to, after the pattern rows, the 4 repeats are complete. Let's just get this last one here. Slip it onto the pin, remove the cable needle or the loom hook, and we are going to knit over to, in this case on the 32, pin 20. Pin 20 is where we will attach our contrasting color. If you're following along on a 40 pin, it's going to be pin 27 for the contrasting color. And we are going to knit 8 stitches in the contrasting color. So on the 32 pin, that's from stitch 20 to 27, and on the 40 pin, that's 27 to 34. So just switch the color here and knit 8 stitches in the contrasting color. And that step isn't necessary if you're doing something like sleeves on a sweater, but for the ear warmer, it really helps our lacy design pop. So switching back to that main color, we're going to complete this row just knitting plainly. Secure those ends so they don't bunch up. No tucked stitches in this pattern. Tucked stitches add a lot of resistance when you go to slip the stitch, and they're just a headache to deal with. It's easier to avoid them. Okay, so completing the row, then we're going to do one more row to really lock in that lace. So here from a different angle, I'm going to tell you about round 2. On round 2, we are just moving over one pin from where we did our pattern before. So, and we are going to start on pin 6 and slip pin 6 over to, or stitch 6 rather, over to pin 7. And if you're working on the 40 pin machine, that's start on stitch 8 and move it over to 9. So each time we will do this, slip over 4 times. Hopefully you can see it better there. Get it on my cable needle. Slip it up and over. Crank a bit. And slide it down over the next pin. Perfect. Sometimes you do have to coax them down to the bottom of the pin. You don't ever want to push it. Crank your handle if it's not moving freely. You don't want to damage your machine in this process at all. As you can see, I was trying to do this right-handed for the camera, and that felt a little bit awkward. I usually use my left hand, but we got there in the end. Here we go, just slipping that stitch onto the next pin. And again, cranking over to pin 20 to change to our contrasting color, or pin 27 if you are on a 40 pin machine. And we will knit 8 stitches in the contrasting color. This is the second pattern row, almost complete. Secure those ends. And I just do a single knot and then come back and triple knot them later. When it's off the machine, you get better tension control that way, and even color change that way. Back to our main color, we will complete this row and then do one plain row to lock in those lace stitches that we just did. So there's the white needle, once more around, and we're on to the next pattern row. It's going to be row 1 again. For the ear warmer, I did 7 pattern repeats, so I alternated rows 1 and 2 with plain knit rows in between 7 times for the first half of the ear warmer. Then I, with my main color, knit 15 rows plainly for the back and went and repeated the pattern again, alternating rows 1 and 2 7 times for the other side of the ear warmer. At that point, I needed to end the ear warmer with 7 rows of plain knitting just like we did at the beginning, and used waste yarn to cast off. Here at the end of the project, it's time to attach our waste yarn and go ahead and cast off that way. I love this because it's super easy. You just keep going until there's no yarn left and just let it fall off the machine. So there it goes, keep cranking around, and it releases itself from the machine. Now we can tie up all of these ends. You can weave them or tie them. I just tied them because there were so many, and I triple knotted them to try to make sure they were super secure. So take care of those ends however you prefer, and then it will be time to admire our work. We're going to turn it inside out, or right side out rather. Give it a few good stretches there. And now we can really see what all that hard work was for. We have this beautiful, beautiful lace pattern. It reminds me of how we are all connected, and that's why I call it Gaia. Just gorgeous. And now it's time to crochet these ends together. You do just crochet them flat. I like to use a 6mm crochet hook because it gives a stretchier bind off. Smaller hooks are easier, but I prefer the stretch that the 6mm gives. So we're just closing that up as usual for a twisted ear warmer. I'll remove the waste yarn and show you how stretchy this bind off is with a 6mm. Look at that. Beautifully finished, ready to be attached to the other side. So I'll do that off camera, sew it together, and I'll come back and show you the finished result. And here we have the Gaia ear warmer. I love it. I hope you love it too. Please like and subscribe for more.